G'day guys, it's Mitch Lees from ADB Magazine again. We are here today testing the RFN Warrior Kids SX E500 electric dirt bikes. Now I have my daughter Bonnie, who has just turned 3, and my son Jackson, who has just turned 5, to do the testing for us today. And so we're going to show you how big they are, what kind of size kid can fit on them, how fast they go. But before we get into any of the testing with our little kids, I'll just run you through roughly what's in them and the spec of the bikes so that you know what you're getting yourself in for. So they run a 500 watt brushless motor and a 36 volt lithium battery that lasts up to about an hour and 15 minutes is what RFN say in the lower speed modes. It does have 3 speed settings, a low, a medium and a sport mode they call, which is the fastest one. It comes with these pretty neat all-terrain tyres. They're a 14-inch tyre. And it has a pretty good frame. It's a steel frame, and it also has a side stand, which is convenient for the kids so they don't have to lie the bike down. It comes with dual suspensions. Neither are really that adjustable, but you can push the fork legs through the triple clamp to lower the front end a bit. It also comes with dual brakes front and rear. The brakes are both up on the handlebars though, so there's no foot brakes. So it's good for kids because they can get and feel them easily with their fingers, but it won't teach them to use the back brake with the foot. So in terms of the physical size of these bikes, they are the same bike. It's an SX E500, just one is pink, one is blue. They have a seat height of 49 centimeters and they weigh 24 kilos. So they're pretty light and they're actually pretty low. Think roughly the same seat height as a PW50, just a couple of centimeters taller, but still shorter than a TTR 50, which is the other Yamaha. So to give you an idea of how much they weigh, look out, Bon. I'm just going to pick the bike up. They're so light, you can kind of lift them up pretty easily to throw in the back of a car. Jax, you're 5. Can you show me how you can lift the front of the bike? Try. Oh, you can lift the back. That's pretty good. We're at the front. There you go. So he can lift it up himself, which is pretty good because he certainly couldn't do that with a petrol bike. We're also going to show you size-wise how well they fit on it. So, Bon, come in here, bub. I need you to hop on the bike for me. I need to pick up the dummy. Okay, so Bonnie is about 105 centimeters tall. She can comfortably kind of throw her leg over it. I'm just going to pop the little side stand up so she can put her foot on the ground so you can see. And with her boots on, she can get it on her feet on the ground. Now, Bon, can you hop off and put the bike on the ground and show us how you pick the bike up? Okay, so she'll put it on the ground. That's pretty good. Now pick it up for us, Bon. There you go. So Bon turned 3 at the end of October in 2024. It is now January in 2025, so she's just a bit over 3, and she can pretty easily pick the bike up herself, which is good when she falls over. She can get it herself. And put your leg over, Bon. And she can also get her leg over and hold the bike up. So that's, for me as a parent, one of the most important things, because I can't always be watching them, and if these two decide to go off on their own little ride around the homestead, then they can kind of help each other pick the bikes up or do it themselves. So that's pretty convenient for our 3-year-old. Now, because it's got the 3 speed settings too, we've been able to get Bonnie learning to ride the bike on the lower speed setting, and quite quickly she graduated up to the fast speed setting, because while it is a little bit jerky off the bottom, it's nothing like some of the other bikes that you can get. So she can actually quite comfortably throttle on in the fast mode without it giving her any whiplash. Now we'll switch across here to Jax, who's just turned 5. Hop on. Jackson's about 125 centimeters. Jax, you want to show us how you can hop on and what you look like sitting on the bike for us? All right, so put the stand up. So you can see he gets his feet over it pretty easily. He's even got his knees bent. Jax, you want to kind of stand up over the bike so you can stand with your feet on the ground? There you go. So he can kind of stand over it, which is actually even easier because it means you can push and pull on it as well. So that's the kind of physical dimensions of it. Jax, do you want to show us if you can lift the front up while you're standing on it? Wow, so that's pretty good too. So they've got to get up gutters, or they've got to get up rocks. He can kind of do it without having to throttle up and over them. So they kind of suit a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Jax rides other bikes and 50cc motocross bikes, so he's pretty confident on them. But for someone like Bon, who's starting out, it is excellent, and she could ride it from 3, all the way through to Jackson's age or older. Anyway, enough of the talk. Let's go out and we'll do some riding with them. All right, guys, that's a wrap with our RFN SX E500 Warrior Kids bikes. We have had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old testing them, as I said before, and here are the things that we really loved about it. The best attribute of this bike is its size. They are tiny. They weigh 24 kilos, and my 5-year-old can literally lift it up, and even my 3-year-old can almost get the front wheel off the ground while she's standing over it. So for kids who are littler or maybe get a little bit nervous around a heavy bike that might be in the 40s, this would be a great alternative. The other thing we loved, apart from the tiny size of it, is the brakes. They're disc brakes front and rear, and they're hydraulic, and they're just incredibly strong. Our kids could use both brakes and they could skid them, whatever else they needed as well. We really liked that it has an interchangeable battery sitting under the seat, and the best part about it is you get a second battery with the bike, but you can charge the battery off the bike. So you can have the second battery plugged into the charger charging while they're running this bike, and then as soon as this battery runs out, you just plug the other one in, pull this empty battery out and charge it off the bike too. Now you can then charge the battery while it's connected to the bike too. So we think that's a really great addition. We also really liked the power. It's got 3 power settings. The fast one is quite quick. My 5-year-old could fly around the paddocks and around our little motocross track without really needing any more power. And then in the slow mode, it was pretty good for my 3-year-old to get used to before she was able to jump up to the fast mode as well. The one thing about the power we found was a little bit tricky for the 3-year-old is that in the fast mode, it is just a touch jerky. And we noticed that sometimes if she just had to crawl into a certain spot or turn around in a certain spot, she just found it a bit jerky on and off, but that was because it was in the fast mode. And then finally, one of the last things that we really liked about it was the suspension travel on this bike is actually pretty good. There are a lot of small other branded bikes that are petrol, for example, that run a dual shock rear end that is, in our opinion, is a little bit dangerous. We've had some big crashes with our kids on different shocks, but this suspension is actually really good. It's quite soft, so it absorbs a lot of the bumps. The only thing that we thought on this bike we'd like to change is probably the rake of the steering. Now, to make this bike so little and tiny and easy for them to maneuver around, they've actually shortened up the wheel distance. So unfortunately, it's quite a steep steering angle, and that just means when they hit potholes or they get a little bit of twitchiness from the front end, or when they're taking off and maybe it is a bit jerky and they hit a hole because the steering angle is so steep, the front end can kind of get a little bit stuck. That's only the smallest little gripe that we didn't like about it. Otherwise, everything we thought on it was really good. We've had no mechanical problems. We've stretched the chain on the pink one. It's done the most hours with my daughter over 2 or 3 months. And so all we did was simply adjust the adjuster at the back of the swing arm. And apart from that, everything has been perfectly fine. They've crashed them a million times, nothing has stopped, and they've wound these bikes out as fast as they can go, and they've dropped them on their side, and they've left them sitting out in the rain on their side, and nothing has broken. So we're really impressed. They are the best value for money at about $2,200, small bike for kids who maybe aren't confident enough to hop on a fairly heavier bike, petrol bike. We think these are a great alternative.